Hello friends, welcome back. It's lovely to see you and the sun is shining, spring is on the way. It's lovely to meet you. If we've not met before, my name is Eleanor. If we've met before, thank you so much for coming back. Today we're going to have a traditional podcast format where I'm going to talk you through all of my works in progress, my acquisitions, and I feel like we've got quite a lot to cover today, so I'm not going to ramble on too much at the start here. But grab yourself a project, grab yourself a nice warm cup of something. I've got a cup of spiced chai green tea today, which is a bit different for me, but I feel like I've been drinking too much coffee. So I thought let's switch it up. So let's get on with it. Today I don't have any finished objects for you, unfortunately. I got a little bit of cast-on-itis, and I've also had some other projects that I'll talk about at the end that are not knitting related that have kind of taken my attention a little bit. So no finished objects to talk about. The first work in progress I do have to talk about is, I cannot remember where this was when I last showed you. I think I was at the end of the body but hadn't really started the sleeve. And this is the Storm Sweater by Petite Knit, and this is for my fiance. So I have the body almost done and then decided to go on to the sleeves, and I've made a little bit of progress, but I would say that perhaps my motivation waned on this one slightly and I got distracted, so I haven't made a huge amount of progress. This is knit up in Drops Charisma in the colour olive, I believe it is, or maybe dark olive. And it is just the sleeves that I need to do, but I think because we're coming to the end of winter, I haven't had so much motivation for my winter knits. But there is one other whip that I've been prioritising getting finished before the weather turns, but now the weather's gone really warm this week, so I'm sure I won't be getting either of these finished before spring. But if I can get them finished at the sort of start of spring so that they can just be ready for autumn and they don't languish over the season, that would be wonderful. So this is the progress on this one. It is quite large. See, it still looks too short to me, and I've had mixed reports on whether Drops Charisma grows or not. So I think before I go on to the body, which is just two pattern, there is the final one of these sections which I'm about halfway through, and then the ribbing that would be to pattern. But I think before I decide to go onto the ribbing and then bind off, I'm going to do a mid-project block on this one to see. I can't remember from my swatch growing really at all. However, obviously this is a lot bigger than my swatch, and there's a lot more weight in it. So I think I'm going to maybe steam block it to see what it's doing, or maybe, seeing as it's sunny now and it will probably dry, I might just do a full wet block of this before I go on to the before I finish off the body. But yeah, not a huge amount to say about that one. So my next work in progress is in this, I don't want to give you any spoilers for the sewing portion that's going to be at the end of this video, but this actually is a finished sewing object, so I didn't really want to add that in there because finished objects, because I know not all of you are here for all the sewing and the quilting and stuff. But this is a hand quilted project bag that I made myself, but we will talk about that towards the end, so stay tuned if you want to hear about quilting and sewing and project bags. But within here we have my Lumi pullover. Oh, I've lost some stitches. Why didn't I put my stitch stoppers on here? We have my Lumi pullover, and this has grown a fair bit since we last spoke. I think I was towards the bottom of the yoke. Oh, and this is looking so nice on camera. That sort of colour combination, it's looking really, really nice on camera. I feel like colour work like this is really nice because when you're looking at it close up, all you can see is your sort of tension and the individual stitches, but when you put it on camera and hold it back, you can really, really see the design sort of coming into its own. So I did my first try on of this and it fits so beautifully. I'm now at the point of, I mean, it looks a bit short, but that's just because the bottom is rolling up. But I want to wear it quite cropped so I can wear it with skirts and dresses and stuff. So I am now doing the short row shaping to make the back slightly longer. And then I will be on the hem of this one and just have sleeves to go. So I was working on this quite monogamously for a while. And then as the weather sort of started to turn, I've kind of slowed down on it a little bit because I know I'm not going to be able to wear this until the autumn. So as long as it's ready for the autumn, that's fine. But I don't want to lose any motivation on it because I'm so proud of what I've put into this already. So yeah, really, really happy with how that one's coming together. It's knit in Peruvian Highland wool in the colour Red Squirrel and Oatmeal. And I wasn't sure about this combo at first because I think I was looking for a slightly rustier orange tone and a slightly creamier oatmeal. Like this is, to me, it gives grey, not oatmeal. But actually seeing it like this, I feel like that colour combination is really, really nice. So I do still slightly wish that this was cream instead of the slightly pale grey, but it still looks really lovely and it feels really nice when I put it on, like this squishy double collar with basically zero itch. Felt so nice. So I feel like in the autumn I'm going to be so excited to wear this, and I won't beat myself up too hard about the fact that I didn't get it done this autumn. I'm not convinced I like that cup of tea, you know. See, I want to like things that are lower caffeine and not coffee, but I'm just like, kind of wish it were a cup of coffee. Let's do a new project, shall we? Let's go to this project bag. I'm really trying to have a project bag for each project, and actually use my different project bags, because I tend to just like transfer what project I want to take with me into one project bag and throw the other one out, and I lose different balls of yarn and everything. So I'm trying to do like one project bag for each project, and then I will take that project bag with me. But that requires quite a lot of project bags when you have a lot of whips. Anyway, this is a gift knit. A friend of mine has just had a baby, and I did want to get this ready for before the baby was born, but I didn't quite. And I'm not going to put any pressure on myself because it's actually coming out a little bit larger than I thought, and the baby's very small, so I've got time. So this is the Aosta sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl, and isn't this adorable? Nobody told me knitting things for babies was so much fun, because it's like a whole jumper, but this did not take that long at all. I hyper fixated on this for like a couple of days and just knocked out most of it in a couple of days. But this stitch, I think it's called the Andalusian stitch. It's basically just 3 rows of knit stitch and then 1 row of 1 by 1 rib, but combined, so it's really simple principle, but combined with this raglan, with then the little button placket that I've got some little wooden buttons to put on there. It's so sweet. And I chose to knit this in a cotton yarn because I wanted to gift a natural fibre, but I wanted it to hold up to being washed, and I didn't want any difficult care instructions for a new parent. So I went for a washable cotton yarn, and this colour is so sweet. I love this little peach for a little girl. It's adorable. It's so cute. And again, cotton works a bit better with this time of year. So all I need to do is finish off the second sleeve, which should fly off the needle, and I only have this much yarn left, but I'm confident that's going to do it because it's a tiny little sleeve. Okay, I found the wool band, and it is the Kremke Soul Wool brand, which I'd never heard of before, but it was stocked by my local yarn store and it felt really lovely and I loved the colour. And it is the recycled Karma cotton, and yeah, it's a 70% recycled cotton and then 30% recycled plastic bottles, which I thought was really cool. So I know my friend is quite eco-conscious, so I thought that would be a nice choice in fibre. And oh, it's so cute! I actually can't. It's so cute. I really hope she doesn't watch my videos. I don't think she does, but I've got a choice of buttons. I originally bought these little wooden flowers, and then actually when I was trying to put them through the buttonhole, because this is like a DK weight cotton and the gauge is fairly loose, it just kept snagging because the kind of ridges of each flower petal would catch the cotton. So then I wasn't sure about those, but then I found these little wooden hearts and I thought they were so cute, so I think I'm going to use those instead and save the flowers for something else. That's the Aosta baby sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl, and it comes in a cardigan and it comes in adult sizes. It's so sweet. So I can definitely see me knitting this up again in different sizes. If anyone else, could you imagine having like a whole family with matching jumpers like this? Too precious. It will make my heart explode. So let's talk about something else that we have spoken about before, and that's in this beautiful project bag. Look at how stunning this project bag is. My sister-in-law, who I mentioned in my previous vlog, who has an Etsy shop with beautiful stitch markers that actually, I think, yeah, I've got some of her stitch markers attached to it there. And she has an Etsy shop, and I think she's going to launch some crochet goodies as well, so I highly recommend checking out her Etsy shop. So I'll leave a link to that below, and her Instagram, because she posts adorable witchy crochet things, and I'm just, the amount of effort that's gone into this is so beautiful. Look at this lining, it's just adorable. So this is my favorite project bag at the moment, and this in it has quilty cabin socks. And I think this is where they were last time I spoke to you. And now I have 2 cuffs and no full socks. So last time I spoke to you, I was talking about the fact that these looked beautiful and I'm really happy with the stitch definition. However, they are a little snug to get on my heels. So I thought what I would try before I progress on too far was casting on the same size for the cuff and then increasing to the size up for the colourwork portion and then decreasing back down for the leg. So that's what I've done here, and again I'm really happy with the stitch definition. I think it looks really lovely. And I did try this on and it was going over my foot a lot better. So now what I think I'm going to do is undo this one back to the cuff and redo the colourwork portion in the next size up, and then carry on with them both fully and completed. I do also want, I've been knitting the colourwork, so I did the cuffs on a 2.25mm and I did the colourwork on a 2.5mm, and I'll knit the rest of the foot on a 2.5 because that works best for me. I may also try, I think on my next pair of colourwork socks, not only going up to the next size for the colourwork portion, but trying a 2.75mm needle. I just didn't want to go too loose and risk losing stitch definition, but actually I think it will be fine. But I could still use a little extra stretch because my instep is so high that honestly knitting the biggest size in the colourwork section is still not a really easy fit because I just have really wide feet and it's a curse. To want adorable little colourwork socks and have a really wide instep and wide foot, it's torture for my little knitting heart. So for this I am using the Knit Pro Symphony Terra yarn, and I'm not sure of the colour of this one actually because when I bought this hank it was missing the label, but it's a beautiful sort of black with burgundy mixed into it, so it's slightly variegated in tones of like black, grey and burgundy. And then my contrast colour is Drops Nord. I'm not sure if it's Drops Nord or Fable, but I believe it's Drops Nord. I think it's Drops Nord because it looks like it's got more of an alpaca-y halo and it feels a bit softer, where the Fable feels a little bit more rustic. But yeah, that's that. So it doesn't feel like much progress because I've got to undo this one. However, they're really quick to knit up with the little pattern. These are, I mentioned, the Quilty Cabin Socks by Horsefeather Fibre Arts. It's an adorable quilt motif, which is really, really sweet. And I will really look forward to wearing this pair. And I feel like it's worth the time spent redoing different stitch counts, because as I said last time, with my vanilla socks, I have my personal recipe down to a T. I know exactly what needle sizes I like. I know exactly what stitch counts I like. So even with a different pattern, with a different stitch texture, I've got a really good idea of how to make it fit me well. But I've not quite got that same recipe with colour work yet, and it is simply because of my super, super wide feet. So I'm on a bit of a mission to try different heel types, different needles, different stitch counts to find my perfect recipe, so that I can then make all the cute colourwork socks that I want without worrying about whether they're going to fit, because I will know my recipe. So it's worth the trial and error, I think. It's one of those things that when you've got a new style of sock you want to knit, whether it's vanilla socks or colourwork socks, it's worth the time spent knitting a few pairs with experimentation to find that recipe that really, really works for you. Because once you've nailed it and you've got it down, you will be able to just have socks that fly off the needle for you, which is just lovely, because I always love to have a sock project on the go because they're so portable and so much fun. And I am quite addicted to variegated sock yarns, so it's always nice to have that option of just a, you know, a one skein project, and for it to be really, really easy. And I just want to level that up to colour work, so I'll get there. I will. I'm determined to find the perfect recipe for me, and I will make it work. So my last work in project is also a new work in project, and that is the Humble Tea by Lydia Morrow. And we spoke about this briefly last week because I bought the yarn and I cast this on in my vlog that you may have seen on my channel recently. And that is the Tumble Tea. Oh, I've not worked on this in a few days and I forgot how pretty it was. This is, so it's a fingering weight raglan tea pattern in this beautiful variegated yarn from Market Towns Yarns, and oh, it's so cute. So it's like this creamy base with these little pinky greeny, and there's even some specks of yellow and blue, and it's giving spring. And this is going to be a long-term whip because it's a fingering weight t-shirt knit on 3.75mm needles, but it's lovely. It's very, very lovely. This yarn is so soft and squishy. It's called their squishy sock base. The colour is Rose Garden, and honestly it stands up to that. That it is squishy, it's soft, it's beautiful. Yeah, I'm really, really enjoying this. And I cast it on in a fit of spring inspiration a few weeks ago, and then I sort of knit the collar and the early parts of the raglan increases, and then I put it down because I wasn't feeling so springy and I wanted to get my winter project off the needles. But now I'm pulling this back out. I'm so excited and so motivated to work on this. So there's not a huge amount to say about this yet because it's very, very much in its infancy, but it's in the background for spring. And so far I'm really enjoying this pattern. It's got quite thick raglan stitch panels, which I love. And I just wanted to do a raglan that had quite a lot of shaping and a really, really good fit. I knit the Tombow Tee last year by Florence Miller, and that's like a contiguous saddle shoulder construction, and that fits like an absolute dream. But I wanted a raglan version, so I'm going to test out this pattern and see if it fits that bill for me. And I just, yeah, really enjoying the variegation in this yarn. I feel like it's kind of subtle, like from a distance. It's not that variegated, but it's just got some really nice colour in there. Right, so those are all my works in progress. Now let's move on to acquisitions. The first acquisition I want to talk about has been very kindly gifted to me, and they are sponsoring this video, and that is Hooks and Needles. So they have sent me a few of their subscription boxes to have a look and to share with you. And this is really exciting. I used to get subscription boxes for books way back in the day, and I haven't done for quite a few years now, and I have missed it. So it's really nice to have a little surprise, a little present. So that's really enjoyable. I will talk you through what is in these boxes and share that with you. So in each box you get the yarn, some tools and supplies for a knitting project, and then a book of pattern ideas of what you can make with that. So I think it's a really nice concept that it's a very self-contained box, that if you want to add this to your stash and make something bigger with it, you can. But if you want to just knit one of the projects in the book and it be very self-contained, you can do that too. You've got everything you need, including the needles, the yarn, in order to make a self-contained project, which is really great, because it means there's not really any hidden costs to those projects or any assumption that you have a big stash of other yarns or knitting supplies. So it's quite a good way to build that up over time. So in this first box there are 3 balls of their merino charm, which is 100% extra fine merino wool in these beautiful spring colours. I love that palette, that's so gorgeous, and I really like these colours, but I'm not sure I'd have picked them for myself, so it's really nice to have them in my stash actually. They feel really nice and soft. Oh, I keep thinking about what I'm going to make with these, and I haven't decided, but they're really gorgeous. And then also in this box I have a pair of US size 4 circular needles, which is really handy. There is a double pointed needle in a US 4 as well. These are so cute, a pair of little stalk scissors. I've always wanted a pair of these and I've never bought myself a pair of these, so that is genuinely such a little treat to have a really traditional pair of like embroidery scissors in my knitting bag. And I like to have quite a few pairs of scissors because I lose them really easily as well, so that's really handy, but they're very cute. I also have a Hooks and Needles little wooden needle case, and I was delighted when I saw this because I always lose my needles for weaving in ends, always, and I don't have a case for them. So this not only is super cute, but it's going to be really useful. So I went through that box in quite a lot of detail, so now I'm just going to whiz through the other 2 that they sent me to share with you. And look at this! Isn't that fun? So this is the yarn that was in the second box, which is Merino Mirage, which is an 85% wool, 15% polyamide. Looks like a chainette yarn. So that is so much fun. I love those colours. You could do something really fun and summery with those. And this box also has an adorable set of stitch markers in there, and again all the needles that you would need to complete the projects that they provide for you in the box. And then the third box has these gorgeous they're like sort of two-tone summer cotton yarns. They are 50% cotton, full 50% wool, and oh, I love that colour. this is really cute as well, but oh, I need to brainstorm what projects I want to make with these. I need to go through the patterns properly, and I'll share with you when I decide what I'm going to make with them. And these have got these adorable little handmade with love little tags on them. Oh, I need to decide what I'm going to put those on. They'll be really good to have in my stash for gift knits. I am all about self-development as a crafter, so having a box that's curated, that has all of the supplies, all of the guides and tutorials that you'd need to try out different fibres and techniques, I think is a really fun way to continue that self-development journey. So if you're interested in giving it a go, check out the link in my description, and you can use the code Eleanor20 for 20% off your first box. I want to say a big thank you to Hooks and Needles for sending this to me and for sponsoring today's video. So the other acquisition I have for yarn wise is also some more cotton, and this is to go with the Aosta baby sweater. This is the sheepies maybe. I can't quite pronounce this brand, but I think maybe it's sheepies. This is their Organicon premium blend, and this is an 100% organic cotton in this lovely cream colour, and this is to make a baby bear bonnet to go with the jumper that I'll be gifting to my friend. So I hopefully will have this done soon to go with that jumper, and then I can gift it to the new little baby, and it will be absolutely adorable. And then the last acquisition I have to show you is not quite yarn yet, and that is an entire sheep fleece. This is from Chablis the sheep, who is a Shetland sheep, and I've been very kindly gifted by a family friend this entire fleece to begin my spinning journey. So if you are interested in that, then subscribe, because there are going to be lots of spinning videos coming soon as I learn to spin and process this yarn entirely. I've already washed it and skirted it and scoured it, and now I'm onto carding it and spinning it. So I'm filming the whole process for you guys, so please let me know if you're interested in my journey of learning to spin, and if you've got any tips for a new spinner also, please do leave those below. That's the yarny portion done. Thank you so much for joining if that's all you're interested in, but now I'm going to talk about another project I've been working on and then what I've been reading this month. So thank you so much for joining. You have no obligation to stay. If you're just here for the yarn, it's been absolutely lovely to have you. If not, let's carry on. So one of the things I've been doing this month is sewing. I really enjoy sewing, and it's always been a bit of a dream of mine to have a small business. So at the moment I'm working on deciding exactly what products that I want to sell and developing out my own patterns for those projects in order to have those products. And project bags is one of the things I've been really enjoying. I love any other accessories that can make the experience of knitting even more exciting for me. And project bags are one way to do that. You know, when you're really putting a lot of effort into something and you're taking it around and you're really enjoying taking your knitting from place to place and organising the projects that you do have. I love having lots of different project bags. So I did start making these just for me, and then I'd shown them on Instagram and quite a few of you were interested, and I've been really enjoying making them, but there's only so many I can make and keep for myself. So I've been really interested in sharing that with you guys. So that's in the works. It's something that I'm pursuing a little bit, because it would be really nice to have my own business one day, so I'm looking into it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. So these are what I've been making so far. This one is very similar to the one I showed you earlier, but it's just a more finalized pattern, and it's like a little bucket bag with a flat base, so you can stand it up really nicely, and this little frilly top, and this is hand quilted details. And I love this so much. I love this colour scheme. I'm really pleased with that one. And that's the sort of size that will hold an entire jumper. And then also in that size, I have this one, which has, let me just open it so you can see it better, this quilt star. Excuse any extra threads. I'm literally just finished this one, so I've not been around and snipped all the threads yet. But it's this adorable little star with this gingham and some hand-stitched details. Oh, it's so cute. I love it so much. And then I made a sock-sized version of that one. So this is a smaller size for like a sock project, and that's just got the same little star motif, but some green and a green gingham little frill, and they all have like square bottoms, so they stand up on their own really well, which just looks really cute. This is the start of the collection that I'd really enjoy to launch, hopefully sometime in the future. I've also got ideas for tote bags and like notions pouches, but I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, so that's what I've been working on, and I really enjoyed those, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on those. And then the last thing I've got to talk about today is books. When we last spoke, I was reading Quicksilver by Callie Hart, and I have since finished that, and I would maybe rate it like a 3 stars. I did really enjoy it. At the beginning, I wasn't enjoying it because I really hated the male love interest, but actually he grew on me, and I was doubting at the beginning whether disliking him and then having the character grow would be an intentional character arc that the author was putting in there, or because sometimes the quality of romantasy is not super literary. I'll put it tactfully, I love romantasy, so it's not a critique on the genre, but I read it for fun, not necessarily for the merit of the writing. But actually, I think I was being played by Callie Hart, and that was exactly the way she wanted me to feel, so there was quite a lot of skill in that. But it didn't feel entirely unique to me, and I didn't super love all the characters, so I fairly enjoyed it, and I think I could be convinced to read the sequel when it comes out, but it's not a new favourite series for me for sure. Then I went on to have a bit of a palette cleanser, and I read The Locked Door by Frida McFadden, and this was my first Frida McFadden book, but I really enjoyed it. I whizzed through this in like 2 or 3 days, and it was a little bit far-fetched at times, but it was quite twisted, shocking, surprising, and it just kept me on the edge of my seat, reading like by my little reading light in the dark and getting a little bit creeped out. So I really enjoyed that one. Nothing groundbreaking and some suspension of disbelief required, but fun. So I've now gone to the works and bought a bunch more Frida McFaddens, because I feel like she's going to be my go-to for when I just want a really fun crime, but I feel like there's a real perfect blend with crime novels for me, where the solution can't come out of absolutely nowhere, otherwise it's dissatisfying, but equally if it's too predictable it's dissatisfying. I do feel like this fell in the middle there, in the sweet spot. The other thing I then read was Empire of Storms, which is the 5th book in the Throne of Glass series, which I've been slowly trekking on with here and there for the last probably couple of years, and I listened to the audiobook of that one, so I don't have to show you, but I really enjoyed that. I really enjoy anything Sarah J Maas. She's just good, you know, she's just good. I don't have loads to say about it, because it is what it is, and it's like the 5th in the series, so I don't really want to talk too much about premise or anything, because go to the first book if you want that. But I really enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how the final book plays out, because the 5th book and the 6th book I believe are set at the same time, so I need to read that one before I can then go on to the big finale. But I feel like because I listen to the audiobooks when I'm sort of driving and crafting, it takes me quite a long time to get through them because they're like 30 hours each. So it's sort of a long-term project for me to read the Throne of Glass series, but I am really enjoying them. And now I am reading Victorian Psycho by Virginia Fayetto. This is so weird in a really good way. It's so twisted. I'm about halfway through, and if this is going where I think it's going somewhere dark, but I love it. The writing is so interested, getting the insight into this sort of psycho type character in that very sort of buttoned up Victorian era is really, really interesting. So I'm sure I'll have lots of thoughts to talk to you about next time we chat. So that's everything. Thank you so much for joining me today. I feel like I've been really, really chaotic today, so apologies for that. But I just felt like I needed to get all of this out right now before I then move on to lots of different other things and forget to update you all. So thank you so much for coming on this very unstructured brain dump with me. I've loved having you. So please leave a comment letting me know what you've been working on whilst you're watching this video, and I will see you again very, very soon with lots of exciting updates on spinning, crafting, knitting, all of those wonderful things. So thank you again, and I'll see you. Bye.